Now we just gotta wait for the... There we go. All right. Hello and welcome. I'm Stooge, and today we are going to be finally returning to the Great Ace Attorney and Gina's defense. Give me a moment while I make sure my now live notification got out on my Discord, which you can join here, and then we will get started. How is everybody today? There we go. All right. It should be up here. I had to find it because it's been way too long since I last played the Great Ace Attorney. Oh, let's turn that up. I'm sorry, I got a notification. I'm like, what was that notification? Now YouTube is sending me email notifications when I'm live. They want to mess up my subscription page, but they're fine just sending me notifications when I'm live. Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. It's yapping time. Is that like it's clobbering time, Pokey? Oh. Let me see. I've got entirely too much stuff around my desk. Let me see. That is not correct. That is not correct. I need to fix something. I believe that's correct. That's correct. There we go. It's gaveling time. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. So these are the two brothers that actually did the shooting. They keep referring to the constable or the inspector. I can't remember his name right now. Give me a moment. Let's take a quick look at the court record. So she's returning back to, she's on her way back to Japan. Because you gotta scan the Navian. Yeah, you told me this last week. Or at least I've heard this recently from somebody. I think it was you. I could be wrong. Alright, anyways, yeah. So, Inspector Gregson. They keep referring to Inspector Gregson as their older brother. The Skulkins. That was their name. They're the ones that actually killed the shopkeeper, Mr. Windybank. I presume you've heard the defense counsel's summation examination. Oh, yeah, Governor. Your Governor. I did, Gov. I did. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Cool. Blimey! This is going to be hard work. I think this is the last case, so them just being killers is a bit too simple. Alright. I don't know if this is the last case or not. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windybanks. Well, it was bedlam soon as, wasn't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out of me Lucy pocket lockets. However, that was a lie. You brothers... Cool, blimey. On the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter. We never done nothing of the sort. How do you figure that out? Well, one of the brothers gave it away, didn't he? You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time, you will tell the truth. Will they? Won't they? I doubt it. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. A thought worth pondering, perhaps. Say no more, Gov. We hear ya. We'll blab, we'll squeal, we'll peach. Well, ain't he a peach? Witness testimony. Illegal entry. The whole truth. But nothing but the truth. Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing. Nothing. It was when we heard the gunshots, say, made us both jump and all that stuff went flying. Lummy it did. After giving me a fright, we was thinking the shooter'd come out the door and get us next. We stuck everything back where we found it and scapered straight into him in the black. Excuse me. We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, say? We never had the chance. So you admit to the defense's accusation. You did indeed ransack Mr. Windibank's countertop on the night in question. Not ransack, number, no. That's right, Nash. That's right. It's more like we tidied up, yeah. Sorry? By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their miss. The way you say it, we hardly sound like roughs at all. We don't, Nash, we don't. Can't you make us sound a bit more cutthroat? It can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at the Windibanks that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. Gosh darn it. I dropped my poker. All right, time for cross-examination. Let's take a look at our evidence, see what we can throw at him. Alright, the blood on this ticket has been identified as Mr. Mason's. McGilded case notes. Oh, right, Susada. Okay. The whole book. Nothing but the book. Lord Baroque van Zykes. Or Barrack. I'm not sure which. Let's see. Let's double check what this says. No, it's just awful in general. Why can't I remember her name now? Iris. Right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's. Oh, damn it. Okay. I can't look since I'm in the present evidence. Just. Okay. These are the two photos. Is there anything missing between them? Other than this, all of this being misaligned. You can really see if you do this. I feel like the camera moved too. Or the wall moved, because look at the wall. Of course, that could be an optical illusion because of the moving stuff. Well, we gotta do the pressing.
Hold it!
If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place? Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky cleany, are we? I can't keep the voices straight. We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we admit to something like that, people would think we was up to no good. Well said, Ringo, me old China. We only land ourselves in even more trouble. And in fact now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. Landed yourselves in even more trouble. Well, that's rotten luck. Says the rotten apple eater. Witnesses, explain their actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter? We never ransacked nothing. Right, Nash, right. More like we tidied up the place. Sorry.
Hold it!
So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much, you knocked all those things off the counter. Well, it shocked us that much, yeah. This bag of nubs here needs to learn to keep his shit on. Look, it was loud, alright, blimey. Your dead granny would have woken up at that bang. Brig Bruvier screamed like a bloomin' baby and fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot. That got tangled in some marionette. What knocked over a picture frame, what knocked them skulls on the floor. You've really mastered working quietly then. What a racket. Me granny would have been scared back into her grave at a clatter like that. So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise. And then some. It was quiet as sudden as a mouse, and then quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, BAM! I just can't.
Excuse me.
Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add? Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels. Something to add about their testimony. You seem to react just now when at what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something? It's probably nothing, Coles. I won't even bother to mention it, only... Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you just ignore the little details. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? As you know, we brought these fellows into the yard for questioning last night. All the statement they gave and then told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. And the statement they gave then told a slightly different story than what they tell now. Okay. Did it? You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. Might have, Gov, might have. Does ring a bell now you mention it. Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. I can't help feeling like you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony, you fellas. If I discover the witness's testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them. Easy. We'll get it right this time. That's it, yeah. It's all coming back to me now. Really? Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details you miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs. Right you are, Gov. Interesting. Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun!" Alright, we got a press. So, in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously. We did, Gov, we did. Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we heard a kind of wavering voice before the yelling and all. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. Kind of thing. A career in acting tragically missed. And where were the voices coming from? Could you tell? Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was. From the storeroom where the victim was found dead. And the voice you heard, it was that of the victim, Mr. Windabank? On my granny's life, course it was. On his granny's life, course it was. So that would mean that you both knew Mr. Windabank and the sound of his voice. Hey, so that would mean what? What, Nash? What? Any ideas? Yes, Counsel, indeed it would. Nah. We didn't know the geezer. How am I supposed to deny it when that bloke in all the fancy clobbers giving us the evil eye? Looks more like he's staring at the banister. If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true. On me granny's life, it is. On his granny's life, it must be. It's a good job his granny's dead. A good job? What? To surmise then. Immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then heard the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them all over the shop floor. You make it sound like we're clumsy. Don't forget, we tidied up after... Don't forget, we tidied up after... Everything's gone. It's just gone. Don't forget, we tidied up after like good little boys. Anyway, the way I see it.
Hold it!
You're saying that Mr. Windabank had a gun in his hands? Oh yeah, bet that was a sight, eh? Them two waving them guns at each other must have gotten pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted out, we had the geezer saying, "If you don't want us to get shot." It really sounded like he meant it, man. More of an empty threat, you could say. Mr. Windabank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if it required. The only head he ever threatened to put a bullet in was his own, unfortunately. That someone being himself, of course. Good grief, extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. Well, he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person he was gonna shoot, beating him to it, cooked his goose proper. But he wished he'd squeezed the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun." And it was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot? It was more or less at the same time, Gov. I'm not doing that. Alright, let's see. Yes, a career in acting tragically missed. It was more or less the same time, Gov. Give me that gum! Bam! On the thing. Oh, I need to move my mouse. I just noticed it hanging out right there. Then we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck. Before everything went dead quiet. After that, we done a slapdash job of tidying the place up. Lummy. Oh, wait. Yeah. No, that's new. I should have read that. Lummy, it didn't have give me a fraud. We was thinking that she'd have come out the door and get us next. So you didn't try to open the storeroom door then? Not in your life. It went deathly quiet after that, it did. Put the wind right up to me. Right up at me. Put the wind right up me. Okay. Interesting idiom. But anyway, the door was locked, wasn't it? No way that was opening. How do you know the door's locked? Yes, of course. It was locked from the inside. Or so we've been led to believe. It was, Gov. It was. From the inside. Right. We had no way of knowing what was going on in there, did we? Unless there was some other way to get a view of the inside room. Like through a keyhole or a spy hole, perhaps. Don't ring no bells, don't light no lights. We had to cut and run before we noticed anything like that. We're still cutting all teeth on this game, see? But one day... we'll really cut the mustard. Please, cut it out. But as we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body with the accused not 2 feet away, unconscious. Why do they keep ignoring the fact that Jenny was unconscious? Gina was unconscious. Yes, unfortunately. Gina was in there, unconscious, with the gun in her hand. To confirm, would it be correct in saying that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom? Oh my gosh. Every time. That's raw, Gov, that's raw. Couldn't have even if we wanted to. Why?
Hold it!
Yes, whereupon you fired a shot from your own gun at Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Oh, yeah, we was a bit icy there. We was, Nash, we was. Truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when you lot turned up. Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something. Because how would they have known that they were both holding the... See, I couldn't challenge that statement. Yeah. How did they know they were both waving guns at each other? But because it wasn't during cross-examination, well, since it wasn't a statement that we were cross-examining, we weren't able to challenge that. It was right at the end, too. If I hadn't thought of this sooner, I wouldn't have been able to go back and look at it. I mean to say, if I had thought of it later, I wouldn't have been able to go back and look at it. If you're shaking like a leaf, don't put a loaded gun in your hand. Good advice, miss. Good advice. Truth be told, my mind went totally blank. Before your mind goes blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand. Mental note made, miss. After that, we legged it down the street, but apparently we took a dodge. We looked dodgy to the coppers or something. So they clapped them, but they clapped the darbies on us like a winking, like winking. And after you had been handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession, correct? Well, yeah. But listen, that proves it, don't it? So I tried pressing. What do I do? That's Windabank's gun. But there had to have been a third gun. Or Gina's smoke gun. Do we still have a mystery gun, blood? We do have a mystery blood. It was blood this stain. Yeah. Yeah, she realized, but okay. I just wanted to see whose blood it was. Oh, the blood on it has been identified. Okay, fine. I guess. Alright. Let's do a quick save. My brain is just having trouble this morning. And I don't know why.
Objection.
So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windibank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct? That's it, Gov? You've got the picture. He has, Nash, he has, no question. Yet the photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windibank was not holding a firearm of any description. Gordon Bennett? That ain't right.
Objection.
There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Windibank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, it was found in the accused's hand. Yes, but we're trying to sort their testimony right now. Yeah, that Moltool used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Hold it. Stay exactly where you are, right there. Okay. If the crime had taken place as you so colorly described in your testimony, it would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out. Goodness, are you sure, counsel? You intrigue me, my learned friend, but let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where is... Where is the proof that demonstrates the inconsistency with the... Let me see, a single bullet wound from the back.
Take that.
According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a gunshot of "Give me the..." God dang it. What is wrong with me? Heard a shout of "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot. Indeed, with the two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe. Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Yeah. But it's the God's honest truth. It is, Nash. It is. When he was shot that night, the shopkeeper had a gun in his hand. We saw it with our own bleeding eyes. Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Windibank holding a gun? Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. in something like that might have slipped out. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question they actually saw, with their own eyes, the victim wielding a gun. Which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person. Nash, yeah. Order! 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 Witnesses, explain yourselves at once. Well, things is, we weren't supposed to, it would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witness would be the death of you. You might understand that you replaced the untruths of your original testimony with renewed lies. Ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is, see, so I get the impression, based on the way that, oh gosh, why am I suddenly drawing a blank on his name? Van Zykes interrupted them, that he told them not to reveal that information. Truth is, see, cut it out, Nash, cut it out. We blab now, you know what he'll do to us. Who are they? Who are they talking about? Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you. Bruv, come on, game's up. But we have our guts for garters. You'll have our guts for garters. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out. On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again and explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place. Well, do I have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth. Encounter with the victim. Alright, so we got inside the gaff and heaved a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we had it. For an old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. I pulled me gun on him, and then he legged it rough. He legged it through the door into the back room. Look at those. Look at all that sweat pouring off of him. You sure? You sure you had nothing to do with killing him? We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear. That's why you're sweating bricks. Sweating bullets. That's the word. That's the idiom. So you're now telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact had encountered him in the main part of the shop. Well, yeah, sorry. Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably. But honest, Governor, this time, Nash, this time, we ain't got nothing more to hide. Pressing X. Very well, counsel for the defense. Very well, counsel for the defense may proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for. Is it? You sure about that? I bet it's not.
Hold it!
When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Windabank? Oh, well, sorry, I mean, that's right. We was keeping a close eye on the entrance to the gaff, obviously. But we never thought no one was gonna come out of the back room like that. The back room being the pawnbrokery's storeroom. Yeah, that must have been where he popped up from, only place he could have been. So it would seem the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises. Which means Jenny must have been in there at that point as well. That doesn't make sense, does it? If Gina had threatened Mr. Windabank into the storeroom with her at gunpoint, then why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived? Oh, I don't know. Did you see the accused at the time? I'm gonna take a look at something in the court record real quick. I want to look at the body language of Windabank in this photo. Okay, that is startled. What? That Moltula? Couldn't tell you. No way, Kaba. We had bigger fish to fry then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it.
Hold it!
You mentioned that Mr. Windabank shouted those words in your previous testimony, too. However, you claim that you heard him yell them on the other side of the storeroom door. Oh, did we? But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Well, yeah. Was the victim Mr. Windabank wielding a gun at the time? Was he ever, blimey, lummy? A great ugly barrel he had, pointed straight at me face, front piece. So what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Windabank with the gun at that time, is that right? It is, Gov. It is, spot on. Then all of a sudden he came at us, he did. It was bedlam. I didn't know who was going for who. You were clearly all going for each other. Like Nash said, we thought we had it. I mean,
Hold it!
yes, I noted that you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony too. Well, yeah, of course we did. He knocked over a load of books and a candlestick and some skull whatnot. That got tangled into some marionette. What knocked over a picture frame. What knocked scales to the floor. So in fact, it was the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off. So in fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter. Well, Brave Bravia went flying over that counter like a gunshot. I can tell you. Then the old geezer pinned him. He did, Nash, he did. If you hadn't been there, the bloke would have flattened me like a blooming pancake in seconds. At the time of the question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via a secret cable from the pawnbrokery. There was a button under the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim. That's right, when the brothers fled the scene and back onto the streets, they ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they? Poor Mr. Windibank. He did everything he could to protect his shop.
Hold it!
Were you intending to shoot Mr. Windibank? No, never. I was just, looking for me bruv, weren't I? He was just being flattened, don't forget. He was being flattened out, don't forget. By a man whose shop was being burgled, yes. And then the man fled the storeroom when you pointed your gun at him, is that it? Yeah, that's it. He shoved me away and then ran off through the door and shut himself in. Oopsie. There's something about that last remark. Something doesn't quite ring true. I wonder why Mr. Windibank ran away into the storeroom. What? Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him with the gun. Ginny did not have the gun. Ah. Yes, that's right. Gina had allegedly used Mr. Windibank's gun to threaten him and force him to open the storeroom door. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Windibank's hands again? I have no idea. But that's strange, isn't it? This little inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it. Look, the point is, me and me brovia. That's right, Nash, that's right. Me and me brovia.
Hold it!
You say you had nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. Nothing, Gov, nothing. The old geezer went and shut himself in the back room, didn't he? Locked it was from the inside. Oh, I just figured out how he could have shot him. And it looked like the bullet came from somebody shorter than him. So, if you have a person laying flat, and you're standing over them, like so, and you shoot them, it's going to look like the bullet came from somebody shorter than them. If you presume that the person was upright when they were shot. Locked it was from the inside. We know it was because we tried to open it. But it's a decent door, that one. Good and strong. Wouldn't budge an inch. So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Not true. How did Gina get the gun from him? Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker there was the only other person. The sole person who could have possibly shot the victim, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade. It would indeed appear so. What say you to that, counsel? I don't know. Was there anybody else, apart from Gina, who could have shot Mr. Windibank? Do a quick save. I'm trying to think if there's any way. That we could do this. Like if we say there could have been, I don't think that's what they're looking for though. But I could be wrong. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. What's that look for? From the moment you admitted that you encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely. It did? What is your point, my learned friend? The question we must answer isn't who could have shot Mr. Windibank. Is who could have... The question we must answer is who could have shot Mr. Windibank. And it is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer. You have my attention. In that case, let us return to the plan of the premises. The victim was killed in a storeroom which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So pray, what other possible answer is there for the man who could... What other possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be? Counsel, you must now provide answers to the court in respect to the two conundrums. In respect to two conundrums. Two, my lord. Twice as many chances as being to be right, maybe? Indeed. Namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time? Understood, my lord. Are you alright, Bruno? I'm not entirely sure, but there's one thing I am sure about. If I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospects hugely. So, now, time for some clarity. Show the court on this plan the answer to the questions posed by his lordship. If you believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate from where that person could have fired the gun. Alright, let's take... Is this... Because there's a hole here. There's the opening in the door. So it's possible that he could have been shot at through the door. But how would they have gotten the gun into Gina's unconscious hands? No, I don't want to save, because if I save...
Take that!
The defense believes that the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here. And in answer to the second question, assuming the culprit fired from the indicated location, where was the victim at the time?
Take that!
The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. Mr. Windenbank died instantly from the bullet wound in his back. Looking at the stain on the floor, on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired? So you're adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom. Well, according to Skulkin Brothers' earlier testimony, I pulled me gun on him and, yep. If Mr. Windenbank ran right through the door, we have to assume that that door was open at the time. Oh! And it was precisely at that moment, when the victim was fleeing for his life, that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom. Yeah. Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial? Moving on the findings of the Scotland Yard coroner, this report states... Yep. Ah, of course. He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would still have entered his body on an upward trajectory. There we go. So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Windenbank.
Objection!
I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten that the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot as he fled into the room. Do you also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock? Ah, but... What if someone else locked the door? Yes, there is someone who could have locked the storeroom door. Is that so? Very well then, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario just described, the defense's assertion is the victim was shot from outside the storeroom, in which case, who shut and locked the storeroom door from the inside? There's only one answer.
Take that!
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Objection!
That's absurd. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room? For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around her neck. I am inclined to agree, I must say, well, counsel. Ah, yes. That's the tricky one, isn't it? Not really. Not that tricky. You just saw Mr. Windibank get shot. I bet you there were 2 shots. I bet one of the brothers is wounded. And that the bullet, or that the blood on the calendar is the blood of one of the brothers. Ah, yes, that's a tricky one, isn't it? Half-baked notions have no place in my courtroom, counsel. Remember that, please. But of course Ginny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it? Thank you. Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those 2 burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they? Oh yes, obviously! Before the 2 brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Windibank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at the time, but at some point, Mr. Windibank must have heard the intruders breaking into his shop and left the storeroom. Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv. If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. But it matches the testimony so far. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom, hoping to escape danger. Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Windibank fell on the floor where he was just inside the storeroom. And what we have to ask ourselves is what would the defendant have done in that moment? What would a reasonable person have done? Let's check the court record real quick. I want to take a look at the pictures, this picture here. We can't see whether or not the door opens in or out, but it looks like the door opens outward. So how did Gina close the door? I see where you're going with this. Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windibank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it, in order to save her own life.
Hold it!
But we ain't the ones who done it. We ain't, Gov, we ain't. You gotta believe us. I mean, come on, we never shoot at no one.
Objection!
That's blatantly untrue. We know for a fact that you would. Because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Yeah. There's only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers, had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Windibank's murder. No. Where where does this leave us? You mean to say it wasn't the pickpocket who shot? I should have known it was three brothers. They look shady and... You mean to say it wasn't the pickpocket who shot the pawnbroker after all? I should have known it was those three brothers. They look as shady as the dense forest. That was amazing, Bruno. Poor Inspector Gregson. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now. I know, first time ever. And probably the last. Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll have to give a verdict of not... Ah, we have Kefka in the house. An admirable effort, my learned friend. What's this now? Oops. What's this now? He's laughing. He's gonna bring up the fact that Gina had, he's gonna bring up the fact that Gina had his gun. Don't call me Shirley. I'm sorry, Pokey. Alright, let's take a look. You find this situation amusing, Lord Van Zykes. I myself find the defense's argument most persuasive. Oh, that's what I was going to go look at. To the court record. Let's see. Autopsy. Okay. So what are they basing? Are they purely basing it off of the fact that his gun was fired? That his gun was the murder weapon? I myself find the defense's argument most persuasive. I dare say. Such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers in your provincial eastern nation. But such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable pedophagy here. What? The hypothesis you put forward is so ostensibly, credibly cannot and will not so stand. Because you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? Do you mean to tell me you're unaware of your logic's failing? I say, Lord Van Zykes. Might be an idea to explain this bally conjuring trick, or whatever it is, to the troops on the ground, hmm? The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets. By George, count bullets? Oh dear. He noticed then. What, there were 2 bullets fired? Huh? What's everyone talking about? Counsel? Yes, sir. Delhi Court, how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime? 2. 2 bullets. Alright, let's take a look at the court record real quick. Can we see? So we know that his gun had a single bullet, and it was shot once. And there are... Okay. And there are signs that a single round was fired here. I don't know how you can say there's signs of a single. Well, I guess if there's a single bullet, there'd be a single bullet casing left in the revolver. Same is true of this one. There'd be a single empty casing, assuming they didn't have time to reload. And so the question is, how did Gina end up with Windabank's gun? Yes, I'm weird. Two bullets. Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second, that which struck the detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, on his arrival at the scene. Indeed. So the question is, did the bullet that hit Herlock go through all the way through, or is that a third bullet? Do we have any information about Herlock? Like, we don't know what Herlock's blood looks like when tested with Herlock's solution. All we know is that Herlock was shot. We don't know if the bullet went all the way through or not. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet early in the proceedings. The bullet which entered Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body, striking to strike the calendar. Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know that there are two firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windabank, and the Skulkin brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each. Now then, my learned friend, you yourself told the court only moments ago that these two brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did. Oh my goodness! I think you'll find that if a single bullet was fired from the brother's gun hit Mr. Herlock Sholmes, when the shape by... Oh God. Windabank not shot by same gun. Stop. Only one bullet. Stop. Exactly. Yes, this Nipponi street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, you know, it's rather rude to just call him a street performer. It was never anything more than a diversionary trick with no hope of standing up to scrutiny. Ugh. Ah! No. Order! 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 Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hollowed nectar into the public gallery. He needs to be held in contempt of court. Lord Van Zykes! But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can regrettably no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the docket is far from a law-abiding citizen. She is past riddled with criminal conduct. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question with loathsome intent. As we can see beyond a shadow of a doubt in this print, which depicts her threatening the victim with the murder weapon. And as we have here in my possession one more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present. That disc. I'll be taking that, whatever it is, Mr. McGilded's down to the yard. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yes, that music box disc, Mr. McGilded's music box disc. The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Windibank. The accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly doesn't belong to her. Ugh. And with none of the subtlety of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force and brazen impudence. Good gracious! Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. Ay ay ay. There are no depths to which this girl would not stoop if pushed. No crime she would not commit. Fuck you. The court forgets that fact at its peril. I see. I think it would be prudent to take this music box disc into evidence, counsel. A grim testament to the defendants. Lord Van Zykes, Inspector Gregson? What? Yes, Inspector. We had a meeting yesterday at the Odd with the prosecution services, and, I think it was agreed that disc wouldn't be used as evidence. What's this all about? Why is the inspector acting so strangely? That's the first time he said anything to Van Zykes at all. I am unaware of any such meeting. But those were the instructions right from the top. The government bigwigs were insistent. Inspector, I am the prosecutor and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord. Indeed, bailiff. The music disc has been entered into the court record. Hey, Demo, how's it going? The prosecution has established the accused's motive, opportunity, and baseness of... Oh, bah, you've established nothing. You have established nothing, sir. Oh, whoops. There is nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case. I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once, and all for all of 5 minutes. Oh dear, it wasn't even for 5 minutes, Bruno. My lord, my lord. I wonder if I might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about in a bit of a fog up till now, if truth be told. But all of a sudden, the answer's bully obvious to me and my men. There's only one thing for it. Oh no. Very well, the court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your leanings as to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
We have a consensus among the jury, it seems. How are you doing, Demo? When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. You're kind of shortening that and misquoting it a lot. Occam's razor. When all other options have been eliminated, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley. How dare he use it against us? Don't worry, Iris. I don't think we're finished yet. There's still more to this case than we realize. There must be, because there's one thing that I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank. That's beyond any doubt. Very well. We will proceed with the second summation examination of the day. Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready? Garadeb Squadron is primed and ready for action, sir. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have now determined the defendant to be guilty. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. Once a rogue, always a rogue, I say, Different breed to us law-abiding citizens. As only 2 bullets were found at the scene, I would say the whole case is done and dusted. I don't need stereoscope to see the truth here. Every which way you look at it, it was that pickpocket. You're gonna destroy that thing. I love the fact that you can see up here the limitations of the model, where it's got a sharp kink right there, and another one right in this area. It's hilarious. I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief. The accused attempted to theft on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead. I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns. The hell is that? I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns. Seeing a shooting and understanding a firearm are 2 different things. Wouldn't you agree? I could have sworn I hit that. Whoops. Wrong button. I could have sworn I hit this earlier. No. There it is. Okay. Oh. It would seem there is little remaining room for doubt. I have to admit I was rather bowled over by that argument put forth by the chap in black. But when that fell apart like a house of cards, I saw that I've jolly well been hoodwinked. Well, no more! Ugh, the whole courtroom is turning against me. It's not fair, Iris. That prosecutor's being mean. Just because Jenny's done some things she shouldn't have done in the past, it doesn't make her a murderer. Allow me to savor this fruity vintage while I savor the spectacle of your fruitless debate on the matter. Here's to the truth coming out eventually. Yeah, we'll see. That's enough preamble, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. Jury examination. The defense's rebuttal.
Hold it!
Let's see. Just because Miss Lestrade has a history of pickpocketing, she must be guilty of murder. Is that what you're saying? Well, are all members of the British Army so quick to judge? I beg your pardon? Are you mocking Her Majesty's Armed Forces, the greatest military organization in the world? No, I'm simply illustrating my point. Making assumptions about people because they're a soldier or a pickpocket is wrong and dangerous. Well, yes, might have a point there, I suppose. But let's not forget, the girl had already shown she had it in her from the beginning, from the before. She's clearly a criminal sort, through and through, can't deny it. When you say that she is shown she had it in her, are you referring to this? Exactly. Tried to swap that only a day earlier, Swipe that only a day earlier, Or am I mistaken? Not exactly. Given that I was actually there at the time, it's hard to refute that. That reminds me. I've never actually seen the real thing. I can't wait to have a closer look at it. Can we get an idea? Oh, Bruno, look. This is blood. Yes, you're right. Just a small smear, but still definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before. Then it's my time to shine again. I thought I'd be waiting forever. All right, hold still with that disc, Bruno. Can we get this done quickly, Iris? In a flash. Oh, a lovely bright shade again. Wait, that color. What is it? What is it? It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that color, is it? The blood samples portfolio has been updated in the court record. Let me see. If I go... Where is it? Oh, here we go. I just went right by it. I don't know if it's exactly the same or not. It might be. Well, given that it's on the disc, that must be McGilded's. Is it McGilded's blood? And they're actually... Alright. Oh yes, of course. Done. Mr. Sholmes did make a... But nay. Oh, that's right. Mr. Sholmes... Oh yes, of course. Mr. Sholmes did use his caramel bars to make a copy of that disc, didn't he? And then ordered every type of music box he could find from across Europe. We still don't know what tune it plays, though, do we? I'd love to see how the original compares to Hurley's copy. McGilded's disc. Could it be a clue somehow? Perhaps we should examine it in more detail. Already done?
Hold it!
This is the number of bullets that has you convinced. Only 2 bullets were fired, and the 2 guns that fired them have been examined by the police. When the parlor maid asks me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings. She's a real peach. Rather than just answering. Whoops. Well, that's logical, I suppose. Although, yes, sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. 1 or 2 guests rather like the fine china. Does your employer dine with thieves? So I suppose if there was another bullet somewhere, of which we were unaware of, I'd have to reconsider my position. Oh my god. Ugh. Right. A 3rd bullet somewhere on the scene. At the scene. Could that be possible? Unfortunately, only 2 bullets were discovered by the police during their investigation. Yes, I know. Right. And I don't imagine a good men of Scotland Yard would have overlooked anything. You know, like they didn't overlook the bullet in the calendar? If I missed a bullet while I was cleaning his lordship's office, well, I should receive a sound scolding, I don't doubt. And he should receive a visit from the police, perhaps. Sounds like a crime scene to me. A 3rd bullet would completely turn things around if there was one, wouldn't it? Do you think we might find one lying around here, or lying around somewhere? No, I think it's ambulatory, or at least the person it's in is.
Hold it!
Would you please stop muttering about things that have nothing to do with this trial, sir? Actually, it does have something to do with this trial. I'm fairly convinced he was the doctor that worked on Holmes. The defendant's life is on the line here. Well, the thing is, I couldn't really say that it is nothing to do with this trial, to be honest. Huh? I mean, there's no question that the man was shot, but the bullet but the bullet had simply vanished from his stomach. It's quite inexplicable, don't you think? I almost don't want to ask, but this surgery you've been wondering about all the time. Were you operating on... What was the fellow's name now? Herlick? No, Herlock? No. Hairlock? Herlock Sholmes, by any chance? Yes, good lord! It was that Hairlock fellow! What? You're the surgeon that operated on Mr. Sholmes? That's right, using the various latest anesthesia techniques, I might add. It was a fairly major operation, I can tell you. Finally! This is crazy. Let me see, the fellow was brought in not long after midnight, if I remember correctly. They said he'd been shot by some criminal or other, so I opened it up like a shot. But the funny thing is, I went over his insides with a fine-tooth comb and couldn't find the bullet anywhere. So I'm afraid I had to throw up my hands and just stitch the fellow back up. I hate to state the obvious, but... Yes. Surely that's because the bullet is still at the scene of the shooting. The counsel for the defense is correct. It is clearly shown in this photographic print. No, a bullet is shown in that photographic print. We have not established whether or not that is the bullet that hit Mr. Holmes. Oh, sorry. I get so frustrated when things are like that. The Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes, hit him in the stomach region, then exited his body and lodged in the shop wall where the calendar was hanging by the door. I think you'll find it's really quite simple if you just consider the problem three-dimensionally. Ha! What do you think I am, Sonny? Who do you think I am, son? Well, juror number 4 is about the best I can do. As soon as I saw the wound on the man's stomach, I flipped him over. Like a pancake. Are you saying that you checked his back? Of course I did! And there wasn't a trace of injury. No sign that the bullet had left the body at all. Yes! I was right! Aha! What? That's the point. The only logical conclusion was that the bullet was still somewhere in the man's innards, which is exactly why I'm set about slicing him up. And I'm still none the wiser even now as to how many times do I have to say it? Can somebody please explain how it happened? Can somebody please solve the mystery? Almost as much of a mystery as to how this jury was put together. Yeah, it is.
Objection.
Those two oh, whoops. Sorry, little bean. Can't accept that. Oh, gosh. Yeah. No, I screwed that up. Ignore. No, there's not. Oh, come on. Let me just skip this.
Hold it.
Come on. Allow me to show you then. The third bullet. I don't have it. I'm gonna lose another thing. Gosh darn it. I wish they let you back out of this. Because I don't have evidence of a third bullet. I do have evidence of a person that wasn't. Ugh. They're called kanji, aren't they? Are you writing name in Japanese? Actually, no. That's not my name at all. Bruno, you know that stealing is wrong, don't you? First of all, I inherited this from my best friend on his death. Second of all, if anyone has stolen it, it's you. You just grabbed it from me. Is everything alright? Yeah, I'm very quiet of a son. It's a long story. Too long for now. We'll talk about it another time. I just...
Take that!
Don't suppose this would pass. No. It passes for a bullet as much as you pass for a lawyer, my learned friend. Coming from... I just want to skip this. Like, that's why I wanted to pit them against each other. Because obviously, if he was working on Herlock... Yeah, let's. Let's talk to him. Van Zykes has managed to convince everyone. Oh, I hit the wrong button. But when you have eliminated all the impossible, he said, but he hasn't. If we're going to fight back, we need more material. We have to fight back. We have to turn this trial around again. Yeah, I don't care about you. Not you. No. No.
Hold it!
There we go. I thought you were just a tourist. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take the bus to the Crystal Tower, please. There's no way he's just visiting. There's no way he's just a visiting tourist. So, you're a ballistic expert. Who knew? I have much experience with guns. Ah. I have lived through many, how do you say, extreme, violent, extreme violent bloodbaths, perhaps. Those! Extreme violent bloodbaths. English is very difficult tongue. Considering the people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have a tongue. Anyway. If you have questions about bullets and guns, you ask me. There is nothing I do not know. No mystery I cannot solve. He's very confident about his knowledge in guns, that's for sure. But if possible, please, only in Russian language. He's not very confident in his knowledge of English, though, is he? No, still, we should bear it in mind. He's our man. Oops. He's our man if there's a mystery about guns or bullets. Yep. Today has been a long day. Alright. Alright. Okay, what if I do this?
Objection.
Okay. Those two statements clearly contradiction. The idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other. Oh, a ballistic expert. 15. PITT. On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes was shot by one of the Skulkin brothers. But since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we must assume the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body either. Furthermore, a bullet was found lodged in a shop where Mr. Holmes was shot. Juror number 6. Hello, my name is Valen. Pleased to meet you. This apparent contradiction in the facts that so clearly is troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery? I have seen very similar situation in Motherland. It was night. There was blizzard. I was running away along mountain road in freezing cold. Golly. The snow was piling high on both sides of the road. It was very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles and they were on dog sleds. Whoopsie. Mental note, don't ask too many questions. I was shot from behind and fell down in snow. And the situation was very similar to what I hear today from doctor. They could not find bullet in my body. And no sign of how you say exit wound. Then where did the bullet go? Bullet never hit me. Well, if it never hit you, why did you fall down? Bullet hit frozen wall of ice, very close to my side. What? One small piece, very sharp, broke away from lump of ice and pierced my body. It made deep wound that looked just like bullet wound. Good gracious. Good gracious. Of course, piece of ice quickly melted inside me. And that was solution to mystery of disappearing bullet. But that doesn't answer the question at all. The shooting happened at a pawnbroker's shop. Not some snowy mountain road in another country. Just an idea, but we might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here. Bruno. Where exactly was Hurley shot again? Well, according to the report, in his stomach. Sort of around this area, I think. Well, that's precisely where he always wears a little pouch on his belt. A pouch? Actually, I might have noticed something like that. Yes, a pouch. It's where he keeps his 3 glass vials of very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations. What? Really? Doctor, where is that pouch Mr. Sholmes was wearing? Well, the fellow had nothing like that on his person when he arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember. If I may. Lord Van Zykes. While I realize it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during summation examination, I should inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom. Sorry. As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound. Ah, thank goodness. I thought I was getting forgetful for a moment. Since then, it has been in my safekeeping along with all other evidence related to the case. Right? Evidence that you're withholding. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred. Then how did it end up in your possession? Very well. While extremely unconventional during a summation examination, which are also extremely yeah. I must demand the prosecution present the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Hulakshom's pouch. I see. So this is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes on the night in question, is it? Look at that! One of the files is broken and the leather around it is scorched black. It's almost as if the file exploded, or maybe was hit with a bullet. Exploded? So that night, the bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch. And it was the glass file exploding that caused the fellow's injury. This bullet did not penetrate but was deflected into wall of shop. 3, 2, 1. Into the candle. A delightfully complex aroma. Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least. Though it has no bearing on the truth of this case. Actually, it does. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective and then the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of the case remain unaltered. Ugh. I don't know if that's true. But at least the mystery is solved. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man. Thank you very much. Glad I could help. Due to its bearing on the conundrum, the court will sequester the scruffy pouch as evidence. Hurley's pouch isn't scruffy. Sholmes' pouch has been entered into the court record. Now, the summation examination. It's really scorched badly just here. Oh, the strap is broken, look. This must be where the bullet hit then. Let me see. Oh, we have the bullet. Third bullet! Yay! What the? Iris, look. Behind where the broken file was, do you see it? Ah, that's the Skulkin brothers' bullet. What a stroke of luck that it hit his pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is there were 3 bullets fired at Windibanks that night. We found exactly what the juror was talking about. The 3rd bullet! It's time to press that juror again, I think. All right. Now, the summation examiner it would appear the defense is somewhat struggling to alter the opinion, huh? Please, my lord, a little more time. After all, that's a new piece of evidence. It could be a valuable clue, and you can't afford to overlook anything here, Ryunosuke. There's still a way to turn this around somehow, I'm sure of it.
Hold it!
Doopy 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 doopy. Allow me to show you then the third bullet.
Take that!
A third bullet! Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question in Windy Bank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired!
Hold it!
Hold it! What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjurer? What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjurer? Where did you find that bullet? It was lodged inside Mr. Sholm's pouch. What? This pouch was removed from Mr. Sholm's waist before he was taken to the hospital. And since then, it has been touched by no one. Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulkin brothers that night? Yes, as your lordship has surmised. It hit this pouch. But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in this photographic print. Two guns from the scene have already been submitted into the court record as evidence. Yes, that of Mr. Windibank and that belonging to the Skulkin brothers. An examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each. Oh. But that must mean there's a third gun! That's right. We now know on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. Until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. Oh, it's like a stake to the heart. Order, order, order! While this summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the defendant has been built. As is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination. By Jupiter! What? Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once. Witnesses. Governor. Were you listening to the proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination? We was, Governor, we was. Perhaps we can dispense with the tedious preamble and simply answer this one question. A third bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that? Make of it, Gov? I don't make nothing of it. Nothing if I can help of it. Help it, Is it one of yours? God blimey, Gov, God blimey. Not a chance. In that case, do you have an accomplice? What? What? Never! The Skulkin brothers work alone. It's just the 2 of us. That's our trademark. How soon we forget poor Sulky. Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. The third bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it? Tell me. That's a head scratcher. Counsel for the defense. Yes, your lord? My lord? I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The third bullet and the mysterious missing firearm from whence it came. Thinking back over all the testimony we've heard, all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear that the third bullet tells us about the Skulkin brothers is... they had a secret accomplice. But we're gonna save, because I've taken a lot of unneeded damage because of being stupid. On that night at Windy Bank's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a third man. The witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of the accomplice. Do you know who the third man is? I do. Behold, the third man. But the evidence all points to the fact that there was someone else present, someone carrying a gun.
Objection!
D-Man. An accomplice, you say? Pigswill. These protracted proceedings have already focused us to enduring 2 summation examinations. That's your fault. Yet in all that time, there has not been a murmur of a third man. If this apparently wraith-like being exists, the court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. The prosecution demands answer on 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence. This accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. And secondly, the identity of the spurious third character. The Skulkins are lying, I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they're hiding? Well, counsel? I'm supposed to prove the existence of this accomplice and reveal the person's identity, even... Alright. Let me save. I'm gonna do a quick BRB. But before I do the BRB, I can present answers. That way, I can't look up... That way, you know I'm not looking up answers and making a decision after the fact. So, give me a few minutes and I appreciate everybody's patience. Alrighty, I'm back, and I appreciate everybody's patience. So, we know that this is a visual novel. And there's one thing that is a constant between visual novels and me. Okay. But anyways, I'm fairly confident the defense is not ready. Because the more I thought about it, I believe the blood belongs to Mr. McGilded. But we cannot prove that it was Mr. McGilded, other than the fact that the disc belonged to Mr. McGilded. Belonged? I've got a problem. Uh-oh. I was messaging Strega while I went to the restroom, and I accidentally moved my BRB, and I'm sure you guys all saw that. Actually, the more I think about it, it's still this guy. And that is his blood on it. I believe I can provide all the information, all the answers the prosecution demands. But I made my bed. I still don't know if I chose poorly or not. I'm just making guesses. I'm making guesses. The problem with Ritz crackers is they dry out your mouth. Makes it very hard to talk. So, my Nipponese friend, despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting. I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it will make a difference. In that case, counsel, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene?
Take that!
The evidence is right here in this portfolio. By Jove, that portfolio again, is it? Do you expect to escort the rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. Oopsie. You claim one of those blood samples proves the presence of a third intruder. Well, which one is it?
Take that!
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of this calendar. That's a blood stain, my lord. A blood stain? Green blood, curious, even for you. Is the court to understand that the intruder was some unhuman creature? It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. By the great detective? New invention stop. Not yet appeared in stories stop. It's this, you see. It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger sprays a chemical that reacts with the different elements in people's blood to change its color. Different elements of people's blood? Yes, everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what color it changes to, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is. Oh, that brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom stop. Very exciting stop. As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Windibank. Ah, striking blue. Yes, so you see, the green color of this blood stain at the calendar shows that somebody was shot in the main part of the shop. Now hold your fire, young man. Could be from some unrelated incident, could it not? Couldn't it? No, it's not unrelated. The date showing on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Windibank was killed. By golly! Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day. Then whose blood is it? Well, the Skulkin brothers are in the stand, don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else. The third intruder, in fact.
Objection!
Whose identity the court is still waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder? This has a great chance of going poorly.
Take that!
The man's name is Agart Benedict. Agart Benedict? Who on earth are you talking about, Consul? He paid a visit to Windibank's pawnbrokery on the afternoon before the incident took place, when the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into her possession. That's right. Well, no, she didn't try to... The man identified by the defense, Mr. Agart Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force. Broker? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pickpocket thief has just redeemed an article from you. No? Yes. The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say, any music box disc too. Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. Oh, is that when the blood got on it? Did I forget that part? In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc. Can you corroborate this account, Inspector? Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. And in the interest of being thorough, I asked Windibank for a print showing the fellow. Taken from his red-handed recorder, Gubman says. But yes, that's him, talking to Mr. Windibank in that morning. And you claim this man is the brother's accomplice? Well, Mr. Skulkin? Never seen the geezer in my life. On me life, Gov, on me life. Never seen him. Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion. I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion. Which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice. Yes, and I can. Then show us the evidence! I agree, we must see proof of that clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is. This is the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling that something has been missing in this trial from the very start. But now, I'm going to drag it kicking and screaming into the courtroom. Are you ready, counsel, to present your answer to the court then, Are you ready to present your answer to the court then, counsel? Yes, my lord. The defense will present the evidence now. Proof that the man pictured in this photographic print was in fact the person struck by the third bullet.
Take that!
The proof is right here, in this portfolio. Good gracious, counsel, does that portfolio contain the answer to every question posed? I see you share my interest in color liquids, my Nipponese friend, but... Enough! The court demands to see further evidence. Which blood sample proves the man you identified was the one shot by the third bullet at the scene of the crime?
Take that!
As I mentioned before, on the afternoon and the day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Windibank's, which is when the aforementioned Agot Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession, no? That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at that time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred. But of course, sir, here's the disc for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait a minute, that disc. It's mine. What do you think you're doing? Uh, Gina music box disc has countless small bumps and sharp metal protrusions on its over its surface. Those protrusions caused Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now. Goodness, a bloodstain, is it? My assistant and I have just analyzed the bloodstain here in this very courtroom, using my trusty fogger gun. Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio. I say, it's green. It's exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar. The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Eggert Benedict, who was in Windy Banks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night. So there was someone else. Look at those two brothers now. They're sweating buckets. Oi, who are you talking about? It's boiling in here. My lord, it is the opinion of the defense that Mr. Eggert Benedict should be summoned to the court to testify. Courtroom to testify. It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence.
Objection!
This has gone on long enough now. This flagrant ignorance of mechanics of and of the mechanics of law. Sherlock Sholmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes. A good detection of some such. A god of detection or some such. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court of the land. Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So the bloodstains turned a shade of green. What of it? Here's to you successfully proving that no other blood in the world can turn the same color. Yeah, well... And pray, do not even think of suggesting that we would take Mr. Sholmes' word for it. Ugh. Is he right? Is Mr. Sholmes' concoction... I don't know, I mean, he is a great detective. What are we talking about? We can't let him... Concoction, a load of rubbish? I don't know, I mean, he is a great detective. What are we talking about? We can't let him get away with that. I knew it would come to this. Of course, Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognized by any official body. But what other choice did I have? I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said before. About how he was temporarily suspending the summation examination. Ah! In other words, the examination isn't over yet, is it? Good grief! What did you just say, young girl? And in the summation examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So, the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least, not for now. Yes. She's right. She's right. I'm weird sometimes. I'm sorry. Young lady, you have quite the devious mind. Probably because for investigation. Yes. It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Runo. Is that about right, would you say? Or did I misunderstand something? Unbelievable. Mr. Shom's partner is a force to be reckoned with. Iris Wilson, sharpshooter. After that shrewd presses? I think it's presses. I don't know how to pronounce that. Probable cause for investigation, yes. Of the situation from an entirely unexpected source, it must be acknowledged that the previous Sumnation examination is yet to reach its conclusion. This is absurd. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leanings in the matter. As a proud citizen of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to a fair and just conclusion. So then, state your final decisions in turn, please.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Yay! Two called guilty and 4 called not guilty. Such is the outcome of the Sumnation examination.
Objection.
My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision. On what grounds? If these jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to real police work, then they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt. I'm sorry, Lord Van Zykes, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. The trial will continue. Repeat? Me? Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear it will be impossible. What? The name that the gentleman gave for himself, Egbert Benedict, is quite clearly false. I don't believe it. Just when I'd managed to prove the man was there that night. Could I say something? Who was that, please? Who spoke? It was me, my lord. Juror number 5? What have you to say, madam? If possible, the inspector... Me, ma'am? I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again. The one in which the gentleman is shown. All right, yes. This one, you mean? Of Mr. Benedict? Yes. There's no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5? You don't mean to say... You know this man? Yes, I know him. He's my brother. What? No. Good gracious. I bet you, brother. Order, order, order. Juror number 5. How on earth? I'm a communications officer. Stop. As we can clearly see. The gentleman in that photograph is stop. Also a communication officer. Stop. Oh. Oh. Someone's got the hots for him. He works in my office. Stop. A very talented operator, in fact. Stop. He should be in the communication station now. Stop. Tapping away on the telegraph. Stop. This doesn't seem right somehow. I can't put my finger on it, on why, but it doesn't feel right. I suppose we all imagined the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out that he has a respectable job by day, whatever he gets up to at night. Yes, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why I felt something wrong. Continuing the trend of jurors being involved in the cases. Yep. If the gentleman is at London's communications station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Van Zykes, if you please. Yes, my lord. Make the necessary arrangements with all haste, as your lordship bids. The court will recess for 1 hour. When the new witness arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson? Yes, my lord. I should like to hear from you specifically about the events at the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Come to my chamber during the recess. Yes, sir, my lord. Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m. Yeah, no, there's a lot of that, and I don't like it. Like, in the previous case, his landlady was one of the jurors. In the case before that, one of the jurors was, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Was the head of the union. Of one of the witnesses. '17th April, 12:41 p.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. The other was another one of the jurors in the first case, or in the last case, was a digger, or was a day laborer working on the ditch that the defendant had supposedly jumped across. All right. 17th April. 17th of April, 12:41 p.m. The Old Bailey defendant's antechamber. Ah, Gina, how are you holding up? I'm starting to feel quite warmly towards her frequent cold shoulders now. Jenny! Are you alright? Why aren't you saying anything? What's the point, eh? Why go to all this trouble and fight it so odd for the likes of me? What? Well, you saw it, that picture. What picture? Ah, you mean this? The photograph taken by Hurley's red-handed recorder. Well, I didn't think I would have captured a scene like that. Well, I didn't think it would have captured a scene like, Well, I didn't think it would have captured a scene like this. That's for sure. It's hopeless. Anyone who sees that's gonna think I did it, ain't they? Well, I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of a shock when the prosecution first presented it to the court. Surely you've got to have your doubts about me now. You can't still think I'm innocent. Of course I can. Jenny, why don't you talk to us? Tell us what really happened that night. Bruno's clearly managed to piece together a lot of the new information, but still, we'd really like to hear it from you. Alright then. It was after we had that dinner together at your place, right, Iris? Then we had a chat up in your office, didn't we? Yes, I remember. After that, I just couldn't get to sleep. So I slipped out and went down the street to the 221 to Windybank's place, and I had to know if Iris' story was there or not. The Hound of Baskervilles. I don't know what it's about or nothing. But if you ask me, there's something in it that Sholmes don't like. Something what he don't want people reading. So that's why you lied to Iris about sticking in lug with Windybank for safekeeping. At least that's what I thought at the time. So you broke into Windybank's. I had to know if it was there or not. I mean, I had no idea all of that was going to kick off, did I? I struck the lock and snuck inside. It was dark as you like in there. So I gave the old lamp on the counter a bit of a wick. And that's when... What do you think you're doing? Ah! I nearly died, I did. The next thing I knew, Stooge hit the wrong button. I'd grabbed the gun off the counter and was waving in the air like I don't know what. Ah, you're the girl who was in here this afternoon. I didn't think pickpockets went in for armed robbery. The mantle script. Have you got it yet? Did Sholmes leave a load of paper? Did Sholmes leave a load of papers with you? A story? I beg your pardon. The Hound of the something or other. If it's in here, I want to see it. I'm sorry, young lady, but I'd sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers. I don't want it. What would I do with it anyways? I just want to see it in it. See its ear. That's all. Oh, you want to see it, do you? I want to know if Sholmes really pawned it or not. Please, just let me see it and I'll go. Oh, very well then. Windybank was such a good soul. But for pity's sake, stop waving my gun around, would you? So then the old cove unlocked the storeroom door and we both went inside. It was there, all right. The manuscript. The Sholmes weren't lying after all. You did all that just to check for me, Ginny? Ginny? I keep saying Ginny. Ginny. Anyway, then there was a bit of a kick-up out in the main bit of the shop. The Skulkin brothers arriving on the scene. Yes? What was that noise? Someone's breaking in. Again! Yeah, me. Is there some burglars convention here tonight that I don't know about? I think I forgot to shut the door behind me. Sorry. I better go take care of it. Could I possibly have my gun back? Oh, well, I'll come with you. No, don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And with that, he took the gun out of me hands and walked back out into the shop. I hung back in the storeroom like he said, straining my ears in the dark to hear what was going on. It sounded like they got into a bit of a scrap. I started to think I should help him. Help see. So I was just about to go out the storeroom myself when... I had a couple of shots go off. 2, I think. At almost the same time. And there he was, right at me feet. Lying face down on the floor. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked it as quick as you like. Because you thought whoever shot Mr. Windibank might come for you. Yeah, so I went to grab the old cove's gun. I figured I'd put up a fight at least. But when I got a better look at him, I knew. Windibank was a goner. I felt funny in my head all of a sudden, kinda dizzy. And after that, I don't remember nothing. That must have been when you passed out, Gina. If I hadn't done what I'd done, the old cove might still be alive. Did you tell the police everything you just told us? Of course I did, but they didn't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was, if I keep telling lies, it'd make things even worse for me. It'll be alright, Gina. Don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer. Runa's gonna put the real culprit through the mill. That cove what was there in the afternoon? That Agert Benedict? I still remember how he looked at me, like I was nothing. He was there that night. We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced that he's involved somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. I appreciate your honesty. You won't. You can leave it all in Runo's capable hands now, Gina. Jenny. Mr. Nara Odo. Yes. How come you trust me? I don't get it. I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on. It was only 2 months ago. Me and McGill did. We told you a whole pack of lies. And you got the bog trotter off with him. Even though he was a killer. No, I could never forget that. Oh. I did what I thought was best at the time. But the pain of that error of judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. I told you that I'd be on your side to the bitter end. So no matter what. But what if I'm lying? You could be working to get another killer off the hook for all you know. I was once in your position, Gina. I was the accused in a trial. You were? Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. Strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I was sure that no one would believe it wasn't me who'd done it. Oh, Runo. But there was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me, and was prepared to defend me. My best friend. Ryu! We don't... Scooby-Doo, yes. We've seen this. We don't need to see it again. I was so happy I cried. But even then, somewhere inside me, I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. But I was wrong. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had an absolute, unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute, unwavering belief in him. Since then, I came to realize, if you want someone to believe in you, you have to believe in the other person first. What are you saying? I promise you, Gina, that no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry. I won't let you down. Even though I'm a diva, a no-good liar, a lyricist, you're not like McGilded. I know that. Eh? That's right. You're our friend, Jenny. Iris? Iris? We know you better than you think. And we've come to the conclusion that you're someone we can trust. Yes. That's really what we need to know. That's really all we need to know. Exactly. Mr. Nara Odo, I Defendant Gina Lestrade and her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please head to the courtroom immediately. Yes, of course. Thank you. I had been both a defendant and a defending lawyer in my time, so I knew only too well just how hard it was to put all your faith in another. And I also knew just how hard it was to bear the burden of another putting all their faith in you. This is it at last, the final chapter, the final battle. Wish me luck, Usato-san, and I hope you're watching over me too, partner. 17th April, 1:41 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. I hereby call this court to order, and as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. Lord Van Zykes, have you successfully subpoenaed the witness? The subpoena was delivered to the communication station where the man works immediately, my lord. Mm-hmm. However, the rain has delayed the arrival of his carriage, it would seem. I see. Then let us turn our attention to Inspector Grayson's presses of the case heard by the court this morning. The glaring omission of the third bullet in your report is a serious blunder, Inspector. Yes, I can only apologize, my lord. And although the defense's chemical analysis of the blood at the scene makes for a compelling argument, I cannot permit such untried methods to be used as evidence in my courtroom. That's a big mistake to cross Hurley and me. A very big mistake. My lord, the subpoenaed witness has just arrived in the building. Thank you, officer. Show him to the stand without delay. Mr. Egbert Benedict. I didn't expect to be crossing paths with him again so soon, and certainly not like this. Thank you for complying with the court's subpoena at such short notice, sir. But of course, my lord, as an upstanding member of London society, it is my pleasure to oblige. Now, kindly state your name and occupation for the record. Ashley Graydon, Communications Officer. Mr. Graydon and I both work at London Central Communications Station. Now, perhaps somebody would kindly explain what all this is about. You are apprised of the situation by the court officer on your way here, I presume. Yes, I was. Something to do with murder that took place at a pawnbroker's on Baker Street. And some nonsense about me having been there on the night in question. That is the accusation indeed. This really is beyond a joke, you know. Very well. Without further delay, the court will hear your testimony now, Mr. Graydon. You will respond to the accusation made against you under oath. He sure is animate for somebody who was shot. Gladly, my lord, gladly. The accusation. Naturally, I have occasion to make use of pawnbrokering services from time to time. But are you seriously suggesting that I concluded with these thugs to break into a place on the night of the murder? I have no intention of admitting such an outrageous accusation, even if certain parties here present claim that my blood was found at the scene. some Scaramouche detective's homebrewed tincture can hardly be taken as serious evidence. Okay, what does Scaramouche mean? I've never actually looked up the definition. Boastful, cowardly buffoon, or clown often behaving. Oh, okay. Interesting. So you deny the accusation completely, do you? I must say I am dismayed. For the highest court in the land to be swayed by this self-professed detective's toy. It was the will of the jury, and our great British justice system demands that the jury will is upheld. Then it would seem we have misfortune of a most inept assembly of jurors today. By golly! How long am I expected to be detained here? If, following the defense's cross-examination... Oh. Oh boy. Sorry about that. If, following the defense's cross-examination of your involvement in this matter has not been established, you will be free to leave immediately. Good. Then I shall be away in time for afternoon tea. Some small consolation, at least. Let us not uphold Mr. Graydon any longer than necessary, counsel. Proceed with cross-examination. So we meet again, Mr. Egbert Benedict. Or is it Mr. Graydon? My apologies. You are Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. We've met. We have met. If you say so. Ashley Graydon, enchanté. So, I trust we can conclude this quickly. Ugh. But I'm not holding your flashy hat while we do. The accusation. All right.
Hold it!
Have you seen these two men before? This pair? No, I don't associate with criminals. Says a man who introduced himself as Egbert Benedict. I'd like to know who I have to thank for this. Who made these outlandish accusations against me? The young lawyer there in the black. This is a farce. Whose idea was it to permit an outsider to work in the British court anyway? Well, needless to say,
Hold it!
Where were you at around 1 in the morning on the night in question, sir? That is past the hour in which I normally retire. Certainly. I was not in the company of these two rapscallions. You're able to prove that?
Objection!
Listen carefully, my learned Nipponese friend. For you appear to be under a gross misapprehension on this point. What do you mean? The witness maintains he was not at the scene of the crime. He has no obligation to prove his absence. If your accusation is that the witness was present at the scene, the obligation lies with you to prove your assertion. You will fulfill that obligation before putting any more unreasonable questions to the witness. A silent victory wiggling. Thanks.
Hold it!
Blood was found at the scene of the crime. There's no question of that. Mr. Sholmes' chemical analysis has positively identified the substance as such. But I am not the only human to have blood running through my veins, am I? How can you be so sure that the blood is mine? It could equally be the blood of one of these two miscreants. You've already been told this is a no-no. Every individual's blood has a slightly different composition, it seems. Mr. Sholmes' chemical is able to differentiate different blood sample by. Spare me the science lesson. Who is this Sholmes character anyway? Oh, I assumed all lenders know the name. He's a renowned detective. So even you are unable to bring yourself to say great detective. A great detective, you say? Now we're in the realm of fairy tales, are we?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Skulkin? What, me? No, the Mr. Skulkin next to you. Right, I've had it up to here with this. How many times have I got to tell you? Yes, I know you're not Big Bruv Sulky. Mr. Nash Skulkin. What? Cool, blimey. What? You what? Alright, what? You what? Is it not the case that when Mr. Graydon just spoke, a thought went through your mind? Would you care to share the thought with the court? Hey, me thoughts? I don't have none of them. It must have been him. You what? Mr. Nash Skulkin, answer the question, please. What went through your mind when Mr. Graydon just spoke? Nothing, honest, Gov, nothing. I was just thinking, if he waves his arms around like that much more, it'll open up a wound again. Open up the wound again, that's all. What wound? Where he took the bullet, of course. It was only 2 days ago. It ain't gonna be healed up yet. So I was, well, you know, I was worrying for him, and... Oh, hell's bells. Mr. Graydon, did you hear that? What? What? Your camera is worried about you, it seems. On account of your injured arm. My lord. Yes, Mr. Graydon. I have no idea what these wretches are talking about. then why are you grasping your arm? Certainly I shouldn't be expected to answer anything in relation to their mindless insinuations. We know that someone other than the victim was hit by a bullet at the scene of the crime 2 nights ago. From the height of the bullet in the hole in the wall, from the height of the bullet hole in the wall, that person was likely hit in the upper arm or thereabouts. Perhaps you'd allow the court official to examine your arm, sir. The left arm that you're currently clasping with your right hand is if it is in pain. As if it is in pain. No, I refuse. You have shown no evidence whatsoever links me to these common thieves. Accordingly, I am not obliged to permit any invasion of my privacy. Actually, I have evidence. The fact that he knows your arm was injured. He just said it. How else would he know unless you were acquainted, I believe? Yeah. Linked. As I've already said, I'm completely uninvolved in all of this. I've never had anything to do with the pawnbrokery where this fellow was killed whatsoever. I take offense to the insinuation that I was in any way involved. You claim to have nothing whatsoever to do with Mr. Windowbank's pawnbrokery, my lord? The defense would like that last statement added to Mr. Graydon's formal testimony. Very well, counsel. Continue with your testimony, Mr. Graydon.
Objection!
I guess that. Never mind the fact that we have the print that shows him there. Ugh. Have you ever seen this disc before, Mr. Graydon? Why? Is it supposed to mean something? This disc was, until the day of his murder, in a pawn in Mr. Windowbank's shop. It was redeemed by the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, that afternoon. However, somebody mysteriously appeared and tried to take it from her. And that somebody was you, of course. Wasn't it, Mr. Graydon? As I have reiterated numerous times now, you are mistaken. That was not me. I've never seen that disc before in my life. It may have escaped your notice, but there's a small smear of blood on the disc. Oh yes, resulting from the abrasion to the thumb, perhaps. That's right. The surface of the disc is covered in hundreds of tiny metal bumps. In a skirmish to acquire the disc, the thumb of the person who tried to take it suffered minor lacerations. So, while the disc bears the remnants of that skirmish in the form of this smear of blood, the thumb of the person in question must bear the remnants also in the form of a scratch. Good gracious, indeed it must. Mr. Graydon. You're refusing the court officer to examine your arm before. Are you now going to refuse us to examine your thumbs? I added plural because he can't specify. Because I have no doubt that it bears a small scratch consistent with the smear of blood on this disc. Well, it would seem I underestimated you. What is the meaning of this? So you admit it now. You admit you have a scratch on your thumb from when you attempted to take the disc from the defendant. Order! Order! Well, Mr. Graydon. It would appear that there has been something of a misunderstanding here. I did not attempt to take the disc as you say. No, quite the reverse. What are you trying to say? It's really quite simple, you see. The disc was mine from the outset. Is there some crime taking an item you own out of pawn? What? No, it's not. It would seem, Mr. Graydon, that in this piece of evidence, my learned friend has established a link between yourself and the incident. Accordingly, you will tell the court everything you know about this disc now. As you wish. Though I'm quite sure it has nothing whatsoever to do with the pawnbroker's murder. Witness testimony. The disc. There's a note on the disc saying for McGilded, but the item belongs to me. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy gutterling, on the day in question. I proceeded at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night. Did I hear you correctly, sir? McGilded, you say, the famous London philanthropist, who perished in this very courtroom 2 months ago after being acquitted of a distinctly messy murder? Yes, my lord. The one and the same. Good lord, Mr. Graydon. Are you saying that Mr. McGilded and yourself were acquainted? Yes, that's correct. Order, order! Well, I certainly didn't expect to hear that name uttered here in my courtroom again. According to what Gina told us, this disc was placed in pawn on the fateful night 2 months ago. McGilda himself gave instructions to deposit it at Windybanks. It's funny that Mr. Graydon here is claiming the disc belongs to him, then, isn't it? In all likelihood, he's lying. So he appeared that afternoon at Windybanks in order to get his hands on McGilda's disc for some reason. Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination, please. The disc. All right. Let's take a look at our evidence. "13th of February, 1 small box, 10 shillings. One overcoat, £1. Would you care to explain how this belongs to you? As you will observe, a communications officer such as myself commands fine salary. You are certainly exquisitely dressed, sir, and in pounds of debt. So, you see, I have little need to make use of the services provided by the pawnbrokery trade. However, I did once find myself in difficulties having misplaced my purse while on an errand, which is why I pawned my fine black overcoat to the broker in question. You claim that was your overcoat. Obviously, and in my haste, I clean forgot that the music box disc was in its pocket. And yet there is a note here that reads for McGilded. This is always the worst. I am a collector of rare and unusual music box music. I first met Mr. McGilded at a gentleman's club in the city, and was interested to discover that he shared my penchant in that area. And so, the disc in question is a pre-production sample. I promised to let Mr. McGilded hear it. Well, then you forgot it was in the pocket of the overcoat you were forced upon. Yes, exactly. Gina didn't mention any of this in her testimony 2 months ago, did she? No, because McGilded had threatened her to keep her mouth shut. Which means that if we dig too deeply here, it's going to expose Gina's perjury. Oh dear, this is complicated, isn't it? Let's leave that alone for now, for the time being. The redemption ticket was stolen to me by the accused, that filthy gutterling, on the day in question.
Hold it!
So you're saying that Miss Lestrade lifted the ticket from your pocket or bag? That's right, despite being mindful of danger when walking in the insalubrious areas her kind frequent.
Objection!
What exactly are you objecting to? Miss Lestrade did no such thing. Well, of course you would take that stance, but the girl is a regular offender. You came to the pawnbrokers that day prepared with all the information you needed to identify the defendant. You were looking for her. That's what brought you to Windibanks. To get your hands on Mr. McGilded's disc.
Objection!
I feel like they must have watched a lot of U.S. congressional hearings to get how to be so insulting while sounding so exquisite. My learned friend is a veritable font of nonsense. Nonsense? I concur with the prosecution. I concur. Counsel, you will refrain from conjecturing in this way. Is that clear? Yes, my lord. You need to have... Then I will continue with my contestimony. My contestimony? My testimony for what possible use it can be.
Hold it!
Have you ever been to Windibanks before? Only once, for the purpose of pawning something. Like many, I enjoy browsing in such establishments. So when you noticed the pickpocket had taken your ticket, you chased after her, is that correct? Yes, that's right. I didn't notice at first, of course. Such is the art of the pickverse. But when I did, I headed to the pawnbrokery at once in order to reclaim my coat before the thief could. I was merely trying to recover what was rightfully mine in the first place. Ugh, he can say what he likes because he knows we have no evidence to contradict him on this. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police.
Hold it!
Yes, it was taken by Inspector Gregson here, wasn't it? That's right. This was the very man. Apparently, the police are collecting anything that has connection to Mr. McGilded as evidence.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Is something wrong, Inspector? What do you mean? What do you mean? The last remark Mr. Grayson made I keep wanting to say Graydon made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way. No, it didn't. It's nothing. Leave it alone. Let me ask you this, Inspector. Why is Scotland Yard gathering Mr. McGilded's possessions? I can't tell you something like that, Sunshine. What is it, Inspector? Investigative secrets? Yes, exactly. You should know all about that. Magnus McGilded, who died so unexpectedly after his trial 2 months ago. A man renowned throughout the capital for his great contributions to public life. Yet he had a dark side too. Where are you going with this, Van Zykes? I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of his nefarious activities, are they? That's enough! Coppers like me have a duty to carry out that we're not at liberty to talk about. That's all you need to know. Duties conferred by Lord Strongheart, I presume. The Lord Chief Justice appears to have a great faith in you, Inspector. The bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're gonna need Lord Strongheart's paw prints first. What's all this about? Looks like there's something going on between Gregson and Van Zykes here. Well, it would appear the inspector has revealed all he's at liberty to reveal. Mr. Graydon, let us return to your testimony. Gladly, my lord.
Hold it!
But perhaps you'd seen something of value among the forfeited items. I need to stop fidgeting. Sorry. No, not at all. Oh, A valuer was brought in by the police to assess everything in the shop. Without exception, every article on the shelves was common or garden bric-a-brac. In that case, it's clear that you broke into the shop later that day in order to recover Mr. McGilda's disc. Have you not been listening, man? Even if I had wanted to recover the disc, you may recall that it had been seized by the police that afternoon. Who are you? It was no more in the shop that night than I. As you keep saying, I simply had no reason to break in. So there was nothing in the shop. So there was nothing of McGilded's left in the shop that night. Nothing this man might have been after. I wonder if that's really true. Bruno, if you have some evidence, then let them have it. I'm dying to see that irritatingly assured expression of his crumble. So am I. McGilded slipped the disc into his coat pocket and had it deposited at Windibanks. Then, when he realized he was going to be arrested on suspicion of the omnibus murder, he threatened Gina to force her to take the redemption ticket. There's no doubt about it. That witness is lying through his pearly white teeth. The police were obviously after anything left behind by McGilded as well. Oops. The police were obviously after anything left behind by McGilded as well. That's why Inspector Gregson ended up taking the disc into custody that day. But Gregsy's being very strange about all this. There must be a reason for that, I'm sure. I just don't know what it is. For now, I need to focus on exposing the fact that Mr. Graydon is lying in his testimony. Let's take a look at our evidence. Date deposited 13th of February. One small box. Fifteenth of February. Boop 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 boop. Boop 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 boop. Okay. I have an idea. Let me quick. Oops. Gosh darn it. I hit the wrong button. A redemption ticket used by... But I don't know whose it is. What?
Objection.
Okay, that's the right thing. This disc was deposited at Windibanks on Magnus McGilded's instructions. You knew that, and you went there with the intention of obtaining it for yourself.
Objection.
conjecture again, and in any case, the disc was taken into custody by the police that afternoon. The witness had no reason to visit the pawnbroker again that night.
Objection.
Sorry, my learned friend, but that's not true. What? Mr. McGill had another article in Pawn at Windibanks, as this second pawnbroker's ticket proves. Ugh. There were 2 articles belonging to Mr. McGilded in Windibanks Pawnbrokery. And the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one, together with your 2 accomplices, the Skulkin brothers. This second ticket is it? What had the man deposited? The article description reads, 1 small box. A rather vague description, it seems to me. Are you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket box? I believe there are adequate grounds to suspect that you did. This is absurd. Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article has been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There would be absolutely no need for me to resort to theft. That's a good point. Indeed, the witness makes a solid argument. So that means that for some reason, this Graydon fellow needed the small box that very night, doesn't it?
Objection.
It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. Could you be a little less cryptic, Lord Van Zykes? I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrovertible. On the night in question, no small box was taken from Windibanks Pawnbrokery. And rest assured, the prosecution can prove it. What? Well, yes. If it's in the back room, sure. Good gracious. Inspector, show the photographic prints to the court, if you please. Yes, sir. What prints? These prints were taken from one of the detective's security cameras. Ah, Hurley's right-handed recorders again. As previously explained, using this plan of the shop layout. The victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in 2 locations. One was set to capture the current counter where Windibank received his customers. The other was set to capture the shelves on which articles were placed for sale once forfeited. According to the information on this ticket, Ms. McGilded's small box had been forfeited already. 2 days before the incident at 9 p.m. on 13th of April, to be precise. Which means it would have been on the shelves of forfeited items in the shop front. Now, what I have here is a print taken by one of the cameras 2 hours before the incident. That's at 11 p.m. on the 15th of April. The victim certainly had a very full shop, it would appear. And then here we have another print. This one taken about 2 hours after the incident. I see. So we have 2 pictures to compare. So placing them side by side leaves me cold. Do you see what I see? Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache. Obviously at Scotland Yard. We considered theft as one of the possible motives in the case. We explored the possibilities that something had been taken in addition to the victim's life. So your men have already compared these two prints thoroughly, Inspector? Yes, sir. We counted every single item on these two photographic prints. And the yard's conclusion is that exactly the same number are present in both. In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than hopeful fantasy. Ugh. I don't believe it. I could have just shown that he'd stolen McGilded's pawned box. I may have been able to break him down at last. You know what, Bruno? Time for a 5-hour stereographic explanation. Probably. I've been thinking. I wonder if these photographs really are exactly the same. The answer is no. What? So, counsel, in light of the evidence put forward by the prosecution, what is your position? It seems that the fact on the night in question, nothing was stolen from the victim's establishment. Do you accept the prosecution's assertion? I don't know. Could there be some hidden discrepancy in these two photographs? Photographic prints somewhere? I don't think we have a piece of evidence, but I will point out... use a piece of evidence. I wasn't sure at first, but there's clearly a discrepancy between these two prints. I wasn't sure at first. There's clearly a discrepancy between these two prints. What? You must identify the location in question for the court, counsel. Indicate the precise location of the discrepancy you speak of.
Take that!
I keep pressing A to present. Granted, these two prints are almost identical. However, there is one minor discrepancy between them. What? When you view the two pictures stereoscopically, a single area stands out as being different. The location of this small box. Let me wait. Unbelievable. And I didn't even have to use a stereoscopic. By Jove, you're right. How extraordinary. I just compared them visually. I just went, no, I don't, no. Careful, Judge, your eyes will stick like that. What this tells us is very simple. Mr. Gimild's small box was indeed not stolen from Windibanks on the night in question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelf. Are you suggesting the small box originally deposited by Mr. McGilded is in fact, yes, the very same box just identified in those photographic prints?
Objection!
Mindless guesswork. What if it was? So a box was moved on the shelf. Nothing was stolen, which means quite simply that nothing has changed. Do you know nothing was stolen? Quick, somebody answer me this. What's the purpose of a box? Yes, I'm fiddling with my water bottle. That may be true, but all right, McGilda's box wasn't stolen then. But doesn't the fact that it was moved likely change things? Changes everything. I believe this changes everything about this case. How can that possibly be? The crucial point is the fact that what was moved was a small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside that box. Thank you. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at Windibanks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary. Some little box belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this trial. It's funny that it happened to move in that time. Can we get more prints closer together? Maybe the same, maybe the 12:30 print from when Gina showed up? And then the 1 a.m. print? And the 1:30 p.m. print? Or 1:30 a.m. print? Can we get those 3 prints? So we can see not moved, not moved, moved. Right? I think that's the time. Let's see. Let's take a look at the court record real quick. Yeah, 1:30. How about those prints? Some little box belonging to a man 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this trial. The court does not uphold your objection, Lord Van Zykes. Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to Baker Street at once. Obtain the small box in question and bring it back here for further examination. Are you looking at your future? We should have a report within a half hour. Half an hour. I think perhaps we should recess for a short week until the evidence has been brought forth. To be hoodwinked by such a farce. Disappointing. I beg your pardon, Lord Van Zykes. This is nothing but a smokescreen. A knee-beneath specially, it would seem. What are you trying to say? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning, that this witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGilded from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place. Exactly! It would be beyond absurd to break into a place for the purpose of stealing such a commonplace property. If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGilded perished 2 months ago immediately after the conclusion of his trial. A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which it was established that he was an upstanding member of society, his reputation implied, in fact. So I propose a toast to my learned friend and his most insightful defense. The articles that this upstanding member of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat just happened to have a music box disc in one of its pockets, a small box, and a small box. I assure you I wouldn't accept even if the man tried to make a gift of such a thing to me. You know, that doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not as if it was gold or jewels, is it? Okay. I assure you. Okay, you know, that does make a rather lot of sense. It's not as if it was gold or jewels, is it? Oh, goodness knows Mr. McGilda was rich enough. But you can't deposit cash at a pawnbrokery, I'm quite certain of that. Alright. We're going to save. We are going to call it a day. Stretch. I just saved. I don't need to save again. And with that, I do want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for spending your time with me. Take care of yourselves. I will see you tomorrow. I don't know what we'll be playing, but until then, goodbye, everybody.